ツマンおじ今日のニュースを読みます。POLITICO Trump's golden age has arrived for the top percent. The robust GDP number reported this week masks the extent to which wealthy Americans are driving growth. President Donald Trump's economy had exceeded expectations in his first year back in office. Many for America's wealthiest households, that is. The top 10% of U.S. earners spent $20.3 trillion through the first half of 2025, nearly matching the $22.5 trillion shelled out by everyone else, according to the Royal Bank of Canada. This splurge has been primed by a buoyant stock market, elevated real estate prices, and solid wage gains for the wealthy. Bank of America says its top account holders saw the take-home pay climbed 4% over the last years, while the income growth for poor households grew just 1.4%. The spending power has kept Trump's economy humming. The Commerce Department on Tuesday reported that the U.S. grew at an eye-popping rate of 4.3% during the third quarter, thanks to the surge in personal consumption, which the president labeled as the sign the Trump economy golden age is full steam ahead. But the robust numbers mask the extent to which the wealthy are driving growth. And while business leaders from Manhattan to South Florida are bullish on the outlook, it's a roaring 20s here in Palm Beach County, said Douglas Evans, the president of Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. That view is not shared by most voters. The survey after survey, majority of Americans said they are straining under the pressure of rising living expenses and softening job market. The Federal Reserve Bank of Boston says low-income consumers have substantially higher levels of credit card debt than they did before the pandemic. Even as growth and asset price soared, Trump approval ratings are sagging. For some of his allies, that's baffling. I am mystified by the whole argument about affordability. I just can't quite get my arms around it before it's a really strong economy right now, said economist Stephen Moores, a former Trump advisor, who had aided the administration in its messaging. If the trends continue as they have over the last 6 months, it's going to be harder and harder for the Democrats to sustain its narrative that is not a good economy. To be sure, many of the traditional hallmarks of broadly healthy economy were there. Business is booming for Wall Street banks and law firms, with investors flowing hundreds of billions of dollars into the risky artificial intelligence startup that have minted a new crop of billionaires. By one estimate, merger and acquisition activity will hit the $2.3 trillion in 2025, a 49% jump over last year's tally, with the benefit disproportionately flowing to the high net worth investors. Corporate profit soared by more than $166 billion in a third quarter, up from the $6.8 billion increase reported during the previous 3 months. Luxury hotels, Swiss watches, and premium credit cards remains in strong demand despite the Dow vibes coming from the consumer surveys. Richard Ranson, a managing director and partner at the Goldman Sachs, who oversees its big bank investment research unit, told the reporter earlier this month that the leaders of banks and asset management firms believe that the U.S. is on a solid footing and that the narrative around the so-called K-shaped economy, which refer to when the rich people's finances are improving as poor people's finances sink, is kind of not backed by the idea. While wealthier consumers are spending more, BOA's data found that the spending growth among the low-income households has remained positive. Separately, while the analysis at S&P Global expected consumer spending to moderate next year, they also said U.S. households are sitting on a multi-decade strong balance sheet. Administration officials are optimistic that the mood will improve if President's tax policy, including new deductions for business and hourly workers, lead to more hiring and higher take-home pay. And there's hope that measures like the creation of Trump-branded investment accounts for the new bond and the expansion of investment offering for retirement plans will position the working-class American to capture more of Wall Street upside. Steve Bannon, who served as Trump chief strategist during the first term, said the president needs to hammer reluctantly on how the economy is expanding and that higher wages will come from supply-side tax cut from his One Big Beautiful Bill, which passed in July. Robust economic growth, more and better job wages, and that's what the MAGA voted for. That's what they expected, Bannon said in an interview. The message may ring hollow if the economy continues along its current trajectory. Analysts are cautioning that the consumer spending could soften if hiring remains slow and unemployment, which ticked up to 4.6% this month, continue to rise. The JP Morgan Chase Institute found that income growth is weak this year, particularly for older workers, and that balances remains flat among the bankers' account holders. The American Financial Services Association, which represents the consumer credit firm, warned earlier this month that lenders are bracing for deterioration in loan performance as subprime borrowers show signs of stress. At the Yale CEO conference in Manhattan last week, Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller, a finalist in the sweepstakes to become the next chair of the central bank, described how the financial divide has accelerated since the spring. Wages aren't moving. Surplus are going. The bank accounts are close to like day-to-day paychecks. Waller, a former St. Louis Fed economist, told a roomful of corporate executives gathered in the Ziegfeld boardroom. Everybody talks about how loose financial conditions are. They are loose for everybody in this room, I guarantee it, he said, referring to the ease with which high-end consumer can secure credit. If you go out to the sort of Main Street, middle America that I'm from, those people don't see cheap financing. They look at the high mortgage rate, high car loan, high credit card rate. They are not saying financing is cheap. Even so, Trump officials have been heartened by recent data showing meaningful wage growth for non-supervisory workers over the last year. And while sentiment has lagged a stronger than expected holiday retail season, along with solid sales growth for large retailers, suggests Americans are still spending at a healthy clip. Real wage growth will also accelerate if inflation continues to its decline, said Joseph Lavorgna, a counselor to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. This, to me, is a recipe for a more broad-based dual economy that's not so fixed on the high end, Lavorgna said. 以上です。